He sat at the back of the classroom again, silent, nervous, and lost. The teacher's voice echoed through the room, words flowing like a river, words he couldn't understand. Every time she asked a question in English, his heart would beat faster. He prayed she wouldn't call his name, but she always did. "Arjun, can you tell us the answer?" And as always, he froze. Everyone stared. A few giggled. He tried to speak, but nothing came out. Just silence. The teacher sighed, disappointed. And that single sigh hurt more than the laughter. That day, Arjun went home and sat quietly by his window. He stared at the sunset and thought, maybe I'm just not made for English. Because no matter how hard he tried, he always failed. Every exam, every test, every oral presentation, failure after failure. His friends spoke fluently, confidently, laughing in English as if it was their second nature. But for him, it was a nightmare. Words never felt like friends. They were strangers he couldn't connect with. At home, his father looked at his report card. Red marks everywhere. "Again?" his father said. "Why can't you just learn? It's only English." Arjun stayed silent, because how could he explain that only English was his biggest fear? Days passed, months passed. He tried again and again, watching YouTube videos, memorizing grammar rules, writing essays, but every time he opened his mouth, fear took over. Fear of being wrong. Fear of being laughed at. Fear of not being enough. Until, one day, something happened, something that changed everything. It was a rainy afternoon. Arjun was walking home when he saw a little boy sitting outside a shop selling balloons. The boy couldn't have been more than 8 years old. He had a small notebook in his hand, scribbling something. Curious, Arjun stopped and asked in Hindi, "What are you doing?" The boy smiled shyly and said in broken English, I am learn English, sir." Arjun was surprised. "You're learning English?" The boy nodded. "Yes, sir. One day, I will speak like hero." Arjun smiled, but inside, something hit him hard. That boy had nothing. No school, no teacher, no books, yet he was trying. He wasn't afraid of being wrong. He was trying because he believed he could. And that belief was something Arjun had lost long ago. That night, Arjun couldn't sleep. He kept hearing those words, "I will speak like hero." And he thought, if that boy can try, why can't I? The next morning, he made a decision. He would start again, but this time, not like a student chasing marks, but like a human chasing growth. He started with the simplest step, listening. Every morning, he listened to English podcasts, not to understand every word, but to feel the rhythm, the tone, the emotion. He stopped caring about mistakes. When he didn't understand something, he didn't panic. He just noted it down and moved on. He started talking to himself in English, describing things around him. This is my notebook. I am feeling tired. The weather is beautiful today. Simple lines spoken with confidence. Slowly, words that once felt heavy began to feel light. Sentences that once broke his tongue began to flow naturally. He made English his friend, not his enemy. Every evening, he went to that same street corner to meet the balloon boy. They'd talk in broken English, wrong grammar, strange pronunciation, but full of courage. They corrected each other, laughed, and kept learning. One day, Arjun's school announced an English speech competition. His classmates laughed when they saw his name on the list. You can't even speak a sentence." Arjun smiled. He didn't argue. He knew his time would come. The night before the competition, he stood in front of a mirror and practiced his speech again and again. He stumbled. He forgot words. He mispronounced. But he didn't stop, because he remembered that little boy with balloons and his courage to try. The next morning, when his name was called, he walked on to the stage. His legs were shaking, his hands were cold, but his heart whispered, "You've come this far. Don't stop now." He looked at the audience. Hundreds of faces. And then he began to speak. His voice trembled at first, but then it grew stronger. He spoke about fear, about failure, about how he once believed he wasn't enough, until one moment changed everything. He told the story of the balloon boy, and as he finished, the hall was silent. For a second, then filled with applause. For the first time in his life, Arjun didn't fail an English test. He passed the biggest test of all, the test of courage. After that day, everything changed. He didn't become fluent overnight. He still made mistakes. He still mispronounced words. But something inside him had shifted forever. He was no longer afraid. He realized something powerful. English is not a subject to pass. It's a skill to express. And like every skill, it grows with practice, patience, and passion. Years later, Arjun became an English teacher. One day a student came to him crying, saying, "Sir, I fail every English exam. Maybe English isn't for me." Arjun smiled gently and said, "Neither was it for me, until one moment changed everything." The student looked confused. Arjun pointed outside the window, at the same street where a small balloon shop still stood. He said, "There was a boy who once taught me the real meaning of learning. It's not about being perfect. It's about not giving up." And maybe that's the message you need to hear today. Maybe you failed again and again. Maybe people laughed at your accent, your grammar, your mistakes. But let me tell you something. Failure means nothing if you don't stop. Because every time you try, you get better. Every time you speak, you grow stronger. Every time you believe, you get closer. Don't chase perfection. Chase progress. Don't compare yourself with others. Compare yourself with who you were yesterday. If you can speak one line today that you couldn't say yesterday, then you are already winning. So speak, even if your voice shakes. Learn, even if it's slow. Dream, even if others doubt you. Because one moment, one decision, one try can change everything.